episode 69. Nice. And welcome in to the Benches Cleared podcast, where we cover the best rivalry in all of sports. I am Jesse Gutierrez, and I represent the side of the San Francisco Pretenders, who went 5-1 last week.
And I'm Tyler Coe, and I represent the Los Angeles Dodgers, who went 3-4.
That's not as bad as I thought, though. Like, you just got swept, and I was like not thinking about your week. Like, and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad.
It is,
and it's still under 500, but I was expecting it to be like a 2-5 or something.
We lost the last 4, so that's pretty bad.
It's not good, but it could be worse. That's all. I'm just trying to look on the bright side of things. I don't know.
There's no such thing.
Trying to throw you a fucking bone. Yeah, the Giants are great. It's a good time to be alive. This is amazing. Before we get into teams, though, before we get into all that, there's a lot going on with, I guess, mostly with pitchers. And I want to make it a play a say what type moment, but they're not really saying anything. There's no like clip to show you, but it's like the things that are happening are saying a lot. That makes sense. Does that make sense? I feel maybe I'm just talking in circles. I don't know.
Actions
we're going to go
are
with
speaking louder than words ever could.
See, I feel like that's what makes us complete, because I have like a crazy thought in my head, and you're able just to make it into words, Tyler.
And I have that just poetic mind. What can I say?
Well, players are getting checked for substances. And the antics with the Max Scherzer stuff, the Sergio Romo stuff. How are you kind of taking everything? I mean, this is happening every outing to every pitcher. Multiple times, obviously, if it's a starting pitcher. How are you taking it?
I think it's rad. I think it's fucking awesome that they're making a spectacle of Rob Manfred.
Mom Manfred.
My man Fred. I think it's awesome that they're making a spectacle and just mocking Rob Manfred's rules that he just made up as he was going along.
Right.
It's awesome because it just shows that they don't respect him whatsoever. But it's also not awesome when you think that I've been saying it for a year and a half, that baseball season's not going to start on time next season. And I think we're starting to see it right now.
Gosh, why are you going to put that in the atmosphere?
Because I've been saying it. How long have I been saying it for?
Way too long just being a downer, dude.
I think this has kind of sealed the deal. I mean, Sergio Romo took off his goddamn pants. They're not happy. Right. And the whole shit with Girardi and Scherzer, I mean, dude, I love what Clayton Kershaw said, that if a manager does that shit and they don't find anything, they should be punished somehow. Because, dude, he'd already been checked twice.
Right.
And it's, again, if your head's sweaty and you go to your hair to get some sweat to mix with the rosin, they can't control that. They can't start telling guys, all right, no touching, no taking off your hat, no touching your hair,
no touching of the hands or face.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. So,
but
I think the only problem with
that theory, though, is you can obviously, if you're a starting pitcher, just go to your belt all the time. Go to your belt, go to your hat, really sell it. And then when an opposing manager like, hey, you need to check him, and then he checks him, and then he's clear, then it's free range. Then you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can put pine tar on your neck, all over your neck, and then, I mean, like, because you can't get checked again.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you're
right. You're right, because it's fucked up to a starting pitcher. It messes the rhythm. Right.
Yeah. Right. That's an issue. And then what you just brought up is an issue. Once you get checked the second time, it's fair game unless the manager calls you out.
Right.
I don't know. I think, I don't know if you had heard, but Darvish got a bunch of Japanese baseballs delivered to the Padres clubhouse, because those are already tacked up. They come with a little bit of tack on them. That's the answer. Just like Bauer was saying, just like fucking Darvish was saying, But with Darvish doing that, the balls in the NPB already have that tack on them. So they obviously have a system for it. So, Bauer's
Yeah,
talking about you have to do it this way. Just do what they're doing. If the
right,
NPB, I don't know how long they've been doing it for, but they obviously have a system. Just
right,
copy what they're doing. It
right,
seems pretty fucking simple. And then this
right.
shit would be over with.
Yeah, I mean, we could go back to what we've been saying ever since the enforcement of the rule came down is why are you doing this in the middle of the season? You know what I mean? Where guys who were using spider tech, yeah, that should need to stop yesterday. But guys who are using sunscreen and rosin, that's not like messing with their spin rate and they're able just to grip the ball. Like that's gonna fuck with their game in the middle of a season. Like that's not tight.
Yeah.
Like I mean, so they should have kept their word, which was, hey, we're just getting data. We just want to know what's going on. And then the beginning
Yeah.
of the year, end of the year, being like, listen, this shit's gone. We're
Yeah.
gonna
You guys
either
are
do
ruining everything.
yeah, like we're gonna do the Japanese leagues tacky balls mixed with our balls, or you're able to use sunscreen rosin. If you're caught with anything, it's a freaking 20-game suspension without a roster. Something like extreme to where if you
Yeah.
get caught, then you're fucked. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
feel like that's what like people are like. You're not gonna be able to tell the difference is. It's like, yeah, I understand that, but if you make the punishment very severe and you tell them you can use sunscreen and rosin, they're gonna figure out sunscreen and rosin. They're gonna make
Yeah.
that work. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I I don't know, dude. I just it's funny when Bauer was pitching against the Padres this past weekend, when Joe Musgrove was batting, Joe Musgrove lost his bat and it flew, and then because he can't use pine tar, he doesn't wear batting gloves, so he couldn't use pine tar on
Right.
his bat. So like you see Bauer offer him like the rosin bag when he's
The
in the
rosin bag.
box, which was pretty funny. But it's true. I mean, think about it too. I know we've gone through all the different scenarios, but Padres specifically, like I know Will Myers doesn't wear batting gloves. Like if a ball gets put into play, I mean, usually they'll throw it out, after one at bat. But let's say he handles the ball and gets pine tar all over it and then throws it in and one of their pitchers is using it. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just so many loopholes that it just doesn't make sense. So to answer your original question, I'm super happy. All the players are making a mockery of it. The umpires seem to kind of get it too. They're just like, yeah, it's just stupid. So,
Mm-hmm. Which brings me
just
to
it's
one point that I
laughable.
wanted to touch on. Like, I mean, from what it seems like, the umpires aren't exactly stoked that they also have to check these guys all the time. So, as someone who loves Sergio Romo, and he can probably do absolutely no wrong in my eyes for multiple reasons, it is a little bit of a dick move to throw your glove and hat on the ground because, like, they don't want to do it either, and you're making them pick it up. So that's a little bit of a dick move. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's very entertaining to watch them like pull their pants down and like be like, "Dude, this is stupid." But yeah, that's the only thing the only other point I wanted to kind of get across.
Yeah. But I think the umpires know that all this animosity isn't aimed towards them. I don't think they're taking it personally. So I think they'll be all
No,
right.
but
I'm
at the
sure
same
they've
time,
heard
when they
much
gotta like,
worse.
fuck, dude, I gotta bend over and pick this shit up, they're probably a little annoyed too.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, we could talk about sticky balls all day. That's all that goes through my mind, morning, afternoon, and night. Let's talk about some real baseball, some good stuff. The San Francisco Giants had a 5-1 week. Holy shit! I mean, we're about to be done with June, and they're 4 games in first place. Like, I get the Pretenders tagline made sense maybe like a month ago, but like at what point? Like everyone keeps talking about like, oh, they're gonna fall off. They're just pretenders. This and that. But then they took 3 out of 4 from the Cubs, and they'll beat the Padres or they'll beat the Dodgers, and that gets written off. But like when the Padres, fucking sweep the Diamondbacks, like, oh my god, the Padres are getting hot. Watch out for
Yeah.
the Padres. It's like, wait, I thought we were not impressed by a sweep of the Diamondbacks, and it's just bullshit.
I just want to be on the record that at least for the last month, I've said the Giants are for real. It kills me to
Mhm.
say it, but
I
they
have the
are.
text to prove it. Yes, yes.
Yeah, they are for real, dude. They just have like I think I said it about a month ago. There's just they just get it done.
Right.
Like they could be down by 4 runs, and I have to watch the whole fucking game because I'm scared that they're gonna come back, and then they do, and or they beat the Angels by scoring fucking 6 runs in the 12th inning or whatever. It's bullshit. I hate
Which
it.
they technically lost the game. They lost it like it was done, and then Gabe Kapler challenged a play at home plate, and they ended up
Yep.
overturning it. And there was a couple of times where I was like, "Oh, cool, game's done, Giants win." And then there was a couple of times where I was like, "Oh fuck, game's over, Giants lost." And I mean, just to have Talkman get that moment, I know it was just an add-on thing, but that was nice. I think when you think about this Giants team, I know everyone likes to compare Dodgers and Giants to Red Sox and Yankees, and it often gets compared that the Dodgers are like the Yankees, because back in the day, Dodgers would pay a lot of money for players. They're obviously not really doing that much anymore. And the Giants were more comparable to the Red Sox and yada yada yada. So you have that kind of mindset. But this team right here, it's almost like the Giants are like the Rays, where it doesn't matter who it is. Someone's coming through. They're going to be hitting 200, but the couple hits that they hit are bangers, and they end up winning games because their pitching is great. And it's a next man up mentality that just keeps on giving. I mean, no one is really like they have the most home runs in baseball right now, but there's no one that's in the top 5 of home runs in the league. So it's literally just a lot of people are hitting an okay amount of home runs. So
It's just a
it's that
countdown of when Brandon Crawford's going to get popped for PEDs. That's all. That's all it is.
I'm not gonna lie. Like I was when the Giants released a video, not the long like a day or two ago, where it was just like a mixtape of his year, and everyone like saying negative shit about him, and he's still, and like I was watching it just being like, holy shit, like he must. If he got popped for PEDs, I would be like, that kind of makes sense. Like that's how good he's playing right now.
Let me see his hat
And
size
that's not a diss
from last season and his hat size from this season, and we'll compare, and we can squash it immediately.
But that could just be the hair growing, like that could just be all flow.
Likely story.
Likely stories.
Likely story.
But yes, the Giants did take did beat up on the Phils. I mean, the Phillies are a good team. I know they're what are they, a game over 500, or they're at 500? They're like floating around 500, but in the East, they're all like 500.
Yeah. There's still 4 teams that are very much in it. Maybe even 5.
Yeah, so
maybe.
So the Giants keep on like winning series against them, but they still get called pretenders. So I feel like they should just make that their, like the Marlins ass eaters last year. They should just make that their tag, pretenders. Let's go. Yeah.
I mean, when you have the best record in baseball, I suppose you can do that. When people say that you aren't shit, I wouldn't know. I don't know what that's like anymore. Because my life sucks.
It's nice to see. It's nice to see.
Well, I suppose now's as good a time as ever to jump into the Dodgers week. I started off hot. I was right. Dodgers go into Arizona, they sweep them, which is a big deal because, those are the teams you have to beat up on. You have to beat up on the teams under 500. The Dodgers have played like absolute dog shit against teams with winning records this year. So going into San Diego, it's always, it's always important to win the series. But to go out there and play the way they played and get swept is just adding insult to injury. I was tweeting about it during one of the games. They just are playing. It looks like they have no drive. It looks like they don't care. And they're just not playing hard. And one of our Twitter followers, and I don't know who it was, But credit to them. They made a good point. It's something I agree with somewhat. The curse of the stacked lineup where you can kind of have the mentality of like, okay, I have Cody Bellinger or Max Muncy hitting behind me. Maybe they'll get it done. No one's getting anything done. This team has
Right.
been a dud this week.
Head
And
of
it's
the
just
week.
frustrating. And Trevor, credit to Trevor Bauer, because I feel like he's the only guy ever that's trying to light a fire under the guys in the clubhouse. Comes out after his loss against the Padres and said, like, we sucked. No one's playing like their heart out, and you can see it. So that kind of goes into my next point is I'm very glad we're doing the podcast a little bit later than usual, because if we would have
Right.
done it Wednesday, I would have been saying the Dodgers are pissed. They're going to come in the first game against the Cubs. They're going to fucking rain hits. They're going to fucking drop bombs. They're going to put a lashing on them and like right the ship. And I would have been so fucking wrong and looked so stupid because they played like dog shit last night. Walker Buehler gets his first loss in almost 2 years, and he pitched a great game. I mean, he gives up 3 runs on 2 home runs. He pitched a good game. I mean, Walker Buehler is looking very good this year. The team just didn't do anything behind him. They made Zach Davies look like fucking Cy Young out there. Zach Davies is not an elite pitcher, and they made him look elite. And it's just so frustrating, dude. It's all the balls that they hit. There was a couple hard line drives to Chris Bryant and Javi Baez. That was it. That was it all game. There weren't any other hard hit balls. They looked flat. They looked deflated. They looked defeated. And, on the Twitter timeline, everyone's like, have you ever watched a full baseball season before? Like, it's not time to panic. I don't think it's time to panic, but we're getting pretty damn near close.
Right.
Four and a half games out. I know it's before the All-Star break, but the thing about it is now the team's not perfectly healthy, but we got guys back, and I know it takes them a little bit of time. But, I mean, there's no excuse for just playing. They're playing with no heart, and that's what pisses me off the most. Is from my perspective, they're just not playing with any grit. It's just like they don't care. So I don't know. And the trade deadline is going to be, I don't know. I think the Dodgers are going to be major buyers. It's just who's going to be out there. And
not only but who's going to be out there, but what are you willing to give up? They don't have those 5, 6 top 100 prospects anymore. They only got 2. I think maybe that catcher got knocked off, Keibert Ruiz. He might have been knocked off the top 100. I'm not sure. Obviously, Josiah Gray's on there from the pod. No big deal. But, I mean, are they going to want to deal those guys? I mean, their depth they've had to use. So I don't think they really are in position to give away their depth.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully the Giants lose 30 games in a row. We can get Kevin Gausman. That would be great. But it's going to be hard to see how it's going to shake out. And, obviously we're going to be doing a preview video when the trade deadline gets a little closer. But like you mentioned earlier, the NL East, the teams they're not very good, but they're all so close. So you aren't going to have sellers. And the Giants have the biggest division lead in baseball. So every other division is somewhat close. I mean, obviously you got teams at the bottom, but I don't know. I don't know who's going to be available and for the right price. And then you have to figure, like last night, combined no-hitter, which isn't a real no-hitter. We'll get into that too. But now there's no foreign substances. So, we're supposed to see an explosion of offense, and the Dodgers have gone in the complete opposite direction. So that's pretty worrisome when pitching was supposed to be not as effective as before, and now their offense is declining. So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack when it comes. Like one thing I think, big picture, honestly, if you weren't the problem with the Dodgers season right now is they were expected to be the big bad Dodgers. They're going to beat every single team, and any team that's lucky to steal a series against them is lucky. But if you look at it, I mean, they have the second best record in baseball. Well, National League. They're the second best record in the National League. Like, they're still very good. I mean, if the Giants, like for instance, if the Giants were playing and they have like, let's say they were like close to 40 wins instead of what they're at now, and they were in third place, the Dodgers would still be in first in the best, tied for the best record in the National League. So I don't think it's time to panic. But especially because Seager's coming back, you just got Bellinger back. Muncy he's not back, is he? He's about to be back.
Yeah, he came back. Muncy came back on Tuesday. Belly came back on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Dodgers obviously. I mean, their depth for starting went out the window. I guess they don't want to stretch Price back to being a starter at all. And with May going down for the season, there's a huge hole there. So honestly, I think they need to be in a spot where they need to trade for a starter like yesterday.
Yeah,
I don't think bullpen games are not sustainable for an entire year.
Well,
then you fuck your entire series.
We don't have bullpen games going anymore because we have
gone. Well, I know it's Tony Gonsolin.
I understand what you're working saying. Up. Yeah, well, here's the thing: in a perfect world, we would have a starter who has more experience, who might be on the same level as far as effectiveness as Tony Gonsolin or better. Excuse me. And then Tony Gonsolin goes in the bullpen. That would be great. I would love it.
Who am I missing then? If there's no bullpen game, it's Bauer, Buehler, Kershaw, Gonsolin,
Urias.
Oh my gosh, how am I trying to forget Urias? I think. Okay, I'm stupid. Don't listen to me.
We'll make sure to keep that in.
No, I'm keeping it. Yeah,
that
that's big facts.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. I mean, a starter is what they need, but the big thing is, dude, they're just so streaky because any day of the week on that line, if you look at the lineup on paper, that's an elite lineup. But
exactly, it could turn it up today. I mean, honestly, they can go back to bopping and being the Dodgers they're supposed to be, and it wouldn't shock anybody.
Right.
So, like I said, it's not time to panic, but there is a cause for concern. I think they do need to trade for a starter sooner than later, and put some fire in Tony Gonsolin's butt.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's not ready to be that guy at the moment. They might have to have him be the long guy, or maybe they don't trade for a top of the line starter, but they trade for a solid, number 4 or 5 guy around the league, and then they just tell Johnson, hey, you're pitching his days, you're piggybacking. That could be solid.
Trade to the Blue Jays for Ross Stripling, bring him back.
Yeah, right.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's the last thing the Blue Jays need is less pitching. Yeah. So I mean. Oh, I guess we should probably bring up the combined no-hitter right now.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about this no-hitter.
Yes, I think one thing that just needs to be clear. Yeah, that could be the fuck you of the week. Fuck you of the week brought to you by Farhan. Fuck that concept, and you can quote me on that. Combined no-hitters. They're not real no-hitters. We've talked about it way before in the podcast. It's been a long time, and thankfully we have gotten more listeners since then, so maybe they haven't heard us talk about it. Thank you guys for jumping on. But combined no-hitters are not no-hitters. I mean, no hitting a team for 7 innings is a very good start. Gem, call it whatever you want. Above whatever, completely hands down agree. But that's not history. And then when relievers come into it, 3 relievers, how many times do relievers come in and not give up hits? All the time.
Yeah.
So it's not history. I think it should, at most, it should be a notable accomplishment with Mad Bum's 7-inning no-hitter.
Right.
But other than that, that's it.
So my thing is, and I was talking with someone about it today, the whole thing about a no-hitter is, once you get to that 6th, 7th inning, your pitch count is going to be up there. So getting out of the next 2 or 3 innings, that's the hardest part of the game. So if you're being pulled before the hardest part of the game, if Zach Davies, he came out with like 95 pitches in the 6th inning, if they would have let him throw 130 pitches and he would have hit the Dodgers, that would have been exceptional. That would have been great.
Right.
For him. I mean, not for me. It still made me sad, but that's the accomplishment of the no-hitter is you're taxed. You're throwing a lot of pitches, or you've been so effective, you can no-hit a team in under 100 pitches. You don't get to come out of the game and then 2 elite relievers come in with fresh arms and get a throw. You know, that's not how it works. It was an exceptional game. The Cubs played a great game. I mean,
exactly.
Allowing 0 hits.
We're talking on the lines of history
that's an exceptional game. I mean, but I don't think it should be categorized as a no-hitter. I'm not trying to be a salty fan. The Cubs outplayed the Dodgers.
We've been on the record. We've been on the record where we said this. Of course. Like this is, and not only that, that's why I had to put my name on the tweet that I made last night. Like because I wanted to make sure. Like, listen, I mean, it's just they do nothing for me. Like as far as history, that's a whole nother level. Like when you talk about good start, great starts, gems, like there's levels to this shit. You know, like that. It's just not history. It's not a real no-hitter.
Yeah. Because I guarantee you, because I was at the game last night, if Zach Davies was in there and it was the 9th inning with 2 outs and he had been no-hitting, I'm rooting for the no-hitter at that point because that's history and I get to witness it. But not last night. Last night I was hoping for some crazy walk-off, but because it's not a real no-hitter. But Dodgers got outplayed. Dodgers sucked. That's all. I mean, that's the truth. Not trying to be a homer. Dodgers played like shit and they sucked.
Yeah, I think that's the opposite of a homer. That's why
I said I'm not trying to be one.
Well, that'd be forget it. I mean, now let's talk about some real homers with my stud and dud of the week. It's gonna go real quick, dud. Yeah, Mike Tauchman. I mean, all day, all night. I mean, he had the big home run. I mean, technically it wasn't even like his signature game saving thing, you know, but that's the only hit he's had. This last week, he's had 10 plate appearances and striked out 8 times. I don't know how much of a longer leash you're going to give the guy before you DFA him. I know he doesn't have options and that's why he's still there and they're still trying to figure things out. And I hope he does. I hope he does figure it out. But he's not even, following his game plan and his MO by working counts and trying to get walks. It's just not happening right now. He had 0 walks last week. Tauchman, dud. I'm sorry. I love you. Kinda, but get back. Be that guy. And yeah, prove me wrong. And I'm going to my stud now. And that has to be because of the fact that Yaz is back. All right, it's good.
So dumb.
You know what I mean? Like he's back.
Dumb.
It's here. He's backity back. I mean, he's not wiggity whack. He is hitting 275 since the last time we spoke. 3 ribbies and 7 RBIs, and that's not even including his grand salami the day before, we last talked in his contention. So dude is just hot. He's so hot right now, Hansel. The rest of the league fucked up. They let him get hot. And, I've said at the beginning of the year how, look, I'm enjoying this time in first place. I think that I had a very optimistic take on the year. I think that they're exceeding expectations, but they're probably not going to win the division. I'm not there yet where my hopes are on the division, but they're getting close to thinking we're going to be in contention for this thing. So, yeah, that's my week in Giants baseball. It's great to be back. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Mike Tauchman will get DFA'd soon enough. Hopefully.
He might.
Well, dude,
Wade's back. Let's go.
I was going to say, sending Lamont Wade. Wait, did he get called back up?
Yeah, called back. Well, that's the only reason he went down is because, Belt came back up. They weren't going to give him a lot of playing time. Not Belt, sorry. Ruffin Dickerson came back up. He wasn't going to get a lot of playing time. He had options, and they didn't want to lose Mike Tauchman just yet. They want to give him a little bit more time. Bummer though. Buster Posey has lower back tightness. So hoping it's just a day or two thing. We shall see.
So who got sent
But he's
down?
back because Brandon Belt is on the injured list. Fucked up his knee, so it might be pretty bad. It's a knee he's had issues with in the past. So hoping that it is not a huge thing, but if not, Lamont Wade, let's go. Leadoff spot.
Word. Well, first I'm gonna go with my stud. My stud of the week, Walker Buehler. 2 starts. He went 13 innings. Gave up 5 earned, 2 of which were on the home run. He went 7 no-hit innings. He was taking a no-hitter into the 7th, into the 8th in Arizona. I mean,
They should just took him out and then let the rest of the team do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that no-hitter we had in Mexico that
yeah.
wasn't worth shit. And then for the dud of the week, I'm going with every other goddamn person on this team except Walker Buehler because that's how upset I am. Because that's just how it is. I mean, dude, there's
everyone in that lineup, huh?
Yeah, everyone in that lineup. Maybe you can exclude the bullpen, I guess. But everyone in that lineup is just, dude, the Padres. I know we talk so much shit about the Padres and how ridiculous it is that, every series against the Dodgers is their World Series. But I mean, dude, you have to match that energy.
It's working.
I mean, the Padres, dude, the Padres are just manufacturing run after run. They run the base as well. Dude, Manny Machado looks like a goddamn speed demon. When he played for the Dodgers, he couldn't be bothered to run to second base on a ball off the wall. I mean, that, like I've said so many times this episode, that intensity is not there. So that entire lineup has to figure out something.
Right.
I feel like being 4.5 games out of first place should be enough motivation to kick your shit into gear. But apparently it's not for them.
Right.
So they need to dig deep and find something else and start turning this shit around.
Yeah.
They all suck.
How do you feel, really quick, how do you feel about Roberts complaining about the shift, but the Dodgers being like the team who uses the shift the most?
Dude, Roberts fucked up this week because he kind of threw Matt Beatty under the bus.
Really?
Can you still hear me fine?
Oh, yeah. You're good.
No, I mean, he threw Matt Beatty under the bus when he missed that ball out in left field. And, say Mookie would make that catch because he's an elite defender and Matt Beatty's not. Everyone knows that. You don't go out and tell that stuff to the media because that's your guy. Don't throw him under the bus in front of everyone. He's your guy.
Right.
He knows it. He knows he's not an elite right fielder. He shouldn't have even been out there in the first place. That's what I'm saying. And that's, the Dodgers, everyone has to play multiple positions. Well, they might not play them all very well, and that's kind of an issue. But
right, exactly.
I don't know. The shift, I hope to God,
not everyone could they try to replace Kike Hernandez, but at the same time, that's kind of hard to do. His defense everywhere was very good.
The whole shift thing's frustrating when Manny Machado is out on like the warning track diving for balls. I mean, but if they shift, it's your job to find the hole in the shift. That's how it is.
Yeah. No, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we'll see what we could do to but I mean what they could do. I mean, I love this downfall, and I mean I don't feel bad one bit. Talking about Giants next week coming up. Pretty big week. They are facing 3 against the A's. When you're hearing this, game 1 will be completed. But we shall see what happens, and then we got 2 against the Dodgers. I'm gonna go 3-2 next week, and whether that be a win series against the A's and a split against the Dodgers, or maybe they end up losing the series against the A's and sweep the Dodgers. I don't know, but the Dodger Giants series is going to be very intense. This is head to head, your top 1-2 versus my top 1-2. Gosman versus Bueller, DeScalfani versus Bauer. I know DeScalfani hasn't looked very good against the Dodgers this year. He's going to have a revenge game. Bauer has dominated, but he doesn't have sticky stuff anymore. So, woo! Really excited.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping the Dodgers split with the Cubs. I mean, I would prefer them to win the series, but they're already down a game. So if they could pull off a nice little split, I'd take that. Hopefully Sean Manaea throws a no-hitter against the Giants tonight. So, we can go up a game. But
maybe a combined no-hitter.
I know the Dodgers and Giants series only a little baby 2-game series Monday and Tuesday. The Dodgers need to win both games. They need to win both games. I'm usually not for calling games a must-win before the All-Star break. In my opinion, these are 2 must-wins, mostly for like a moral victory.
Right.
We've been playing shit baseball, but we won. We moved up 2 games in the standings, in 2 games. It's important. It's huge. So,
right.
My eyes are set to there.
Yes, and I think this is a really good point too, because I mean, I think the time that we got swept, there was like a pitching advantage to the Dodgers a little bit, and when we took 3 out of 4 from the Dodgers, because of bullpen games, the Giants had the one up on the Dodgers as far as pitching matchups. This is 1-2-1-2. This is going to be like fucking huge, and I swear all these MLB fucking social media sites better freaking hype the shit out of these 2 games way more than the Padres and Dodgers, because this is getting out of hand now. I got it because the Giants weren't supposed to be good and they're gonna hype this Dodger Padre thing. I understand, but the Giants are good and they're showing that they're for real. So hype this shit up because this is an actual rivalry. We're supposed to be going to a game. We'll see what happens. Who knows? If not, we're gonna be hanging out and going live, and hopefully more crazy stuff happens. But yeah, really excited.
Yeah. Dodgers better win some games. That's all I have to say. That's it.
Don't suck. That would be
good. Last thing I'm going to say, have you ever seen the movie Brink? The Disney Channel movie?
Come on, classic.
Yeah. When his sister's like,
come on, kid,
skate better.
Pup and suds.
And then he's like, skate better. That makes so much sense. All the Dodgers have to do is play better. That's it. Play better.
Okay. Big facts.
Yeah. That's all I have to say. As always, this episode is brought to you by Renovation Candle Company. Summer candles are out now. Go pick something up. Especially if you're sad because the Dodgers are terrible. Pick some candles up. It'll lift your spirits.
Yeah. Don't be sad and stinky. Just be sad. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, Benches Cleared, Twitter, Benches Cleared, and Instagram, Benches Cleared Podcast. Subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform. I know you have a YouTube thing that you made when you were like in 8th grade. Sign into it, figure out the password, subscribe to us, follow us, hit that notification button, help us grow, write us reviews. Yeah. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week.